It's time for another week of meal prep, and today I'm going to show you everything you need to make for a really fast breakfast and a hearty lunch. Just like last week, I'm only committing to 30 minutes of time here, so I'm actually going to set a timer to make sure I stay on track, and I'm excited to see what we can get done. Whenever I'm meal prepping several things at once, I always like to start with the item that's going to cook the longest so that it can cook while I finish up everything else. So today I'm starting with some Brussels sprouts and artichoke hearts that I'm going to roast in the oven. To prepare your Brussels sprouts, I like to cut off the bottom and get rid of that, and then I slice them down the middle so that they'll cook quickly and evenly. If some of the outer leaves start to fall off, I still like to roast those too because they become crispy like chips. Now that I've prepared all these Brussels sprouts, I'm going to transfer them to a sheet pan. Drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil and toss them directly in the pan. Then I'm arranging them in a single layer with the cut side facing down. Then you just need to season it with a little salt. I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and now I'm going to roast them for about 25 minutes. Now I'm greasing the bottom of another pan, and this is going to be for my artichoke hearts. I'm making this as easy as possible on myself by using a bag of frozen artichoke hearts. So they are already cut and all the work is mostly done for you. I'm arranging these in a single layer so that they'll cook evenly, and then I'm going to add them to the oven with the Brussels sprouts. Next, I'm going to cook some green lentils in my Instant Pot to make the process totally hands-off, and they're going to be a great source of protein to go over my salads this week. Another perk of using your Instant Pot is it actually might help make your lentils more digestible because pressure cooking has been shown to possibly help reduce the phytic acid and lectins that are commonly found in grains and beans. To cook the lentils in the Instant Pot, I'm starting with 1 cup of dry green lentils, and then I'm adding 2 cups of water. Secure the lid. Move the steam release valve in the back here to sealing, and then you're going to use the manual button to cook at high pressure for 8 minutes. And then we're going to let it naturally release for 10 minutes when it's done. Next, I'm going to make a creamy Italian dressing using raw tahini as the base. I'm going to make this directly in a mason jar, and I'm starting with a 1/2 cup of raw tahini, along with a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/4 cup of fresh lemon juice. You'll also need 1 teaspoon of raw apple cider vinegar, a large clove of garlic. Now I'm adding a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano. And now I'm going to use a little whisk to help mix it all together. This dressing is getting really nice and thick and creamy, but keep in mind that it's going to thicken up even more when it's in the fridge, so you may want to add an extra tablespoon or 2 of water to help it remain pourable. All right, now I'm going to add a lid to this and store it in the fridge. To finish up everything I need for lunch, I am just going to chop up a really large head of romaine. This is going to be the base of our roasted vegetable salads this week. And then you can top it with those cooked lentils and roasted Brussels sprouts and artichoke hearts and that creamy Italian dressing. I like to cut my lettuce into bite-sized pieces so that all the work is already done for me and it's really easy to eat when lunchtime rolls around later. And all I have to do is dig in with a fork. Transfer all of this lettuce into a storage container. Now all I have to do is store this in the fridge. The last thing I'm going to make today are some easy make-ahead smoothie bags, and these are the fastest breakfast because all you have to do is grab a bag from the fridge, dump it into your blender, add 3/4 cup of water, and blend that until it's smooth. Then I like to add a little ice to give it a milkshake-like texture, and your breakfast is going to taste like a chocolate milkshake, but it's extra filling thanks to the added chia seeds and hemp hearts. To make my smoothie bags, I like to start with these reusable silicone sandwich size bags. I think they make a really good size for an individual smoothie. To make these chocolate smoothie bags, I'm going to add 4 to 5 pitted Medjool dates, If a local store doesn't carry pitted dates for you, just make sure that you remove the pits from your dates before you add them to your smoothie bags. I like to add 5 to make it extra sweet and extra filling. Then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts and a tablespoon of chia seeds and a heaping tablespoon of raw cacao powder. And now the last thing I'm gonna add is a really humongous handful of spinach. I pretty much try to fill it to the top with spinach. And then seal the bag and it's ready to go in the fridge. It's not necessary to freeze these smoothie bags because everything can stay in the fridge for up to 5 days. So I prefer to store them in the fridge so that my dates don't get too hard for my blender. Okay, my Brussels sprouts just came out of the oven and they are perfectly roasted at 25 minutes. I'm gonna let them cool on the counter here for a minute and then I'm gonna transfer them to a storage container. My artichoke hearts are also done now. As you can see, the tops are starting to get a little golden and they are nice and hot and tender. And I'm gonna let these cool as well before I put them in a storage container. Okay, while I was finishing up everything else, I kind of forgot about my lentils, and so you can see they've been sitting here for about 22 minutes since the cooking cycle ended, and that's totally fine. The floating valve right here in the lid has already dropped, which means the pressure is no longer in the pot. But if it hadn't dropped yet, I would just take this steam release valve and move it to venting, and then steam would shoot out the top right here until all the pressure has been removed. My lentils are looking nice and tender in here, so I'm gonna let these cool, and then I will transfer them to a storage container. Now the only thing we have left to do is to store everything we've made today. I'm storing the Brussels sprouts and the artichokes in the same container to save space in my fridge. When you are ready for lunch, all you have to do is assemble your roasted vegetable salads. Our time is up and we've knocked out 2 of our meals for the whole week. So I hope this helps you keep on track with your healthy eating habits. And if you enjoy meal prep videos like this, be sure to tune in again next week. And you can always find healthy recipes on my site, detoxinista.com.